You have worked next to Daniel for 8 years. Same floor, same coffee machine, same parking garage, same 8:47 a.m. elevator ride on the days your schedules overlap. You know his coffee order. You know he has 2 kids, a daughter named Maya who just started middle school, and a son who plays travel soccer on weekends. You know he drives a gray Honda CR-V with a bumper sticker from a state park you've never been to. You know he took one vacation last year, a road trip, somewhere in the Carolinas, nothing expensive. You know all of this because 8 years in the same building creates a kind of low-level familiarity that accumulates without effort. You do not know that Daniel has $340,000 in a brokerage account. You do not know that he has owned a small rental unit since he was 29, a one-bedroom condo in a neighborhood that wasn't interesting when he bought it and is now considerably more interesting, currently valued at $218,000 with $141,000 in equity. You do not know that his net worth, this ordinary man with the state park bumper sticker and the travel soccer weekends, is somewhere above $520,000 and climbing in 3 directions while he sits in the same meetings you sit in, drinks from the same coffee machine, and takes the same elevator at 8:47 in the morning. You are not behind because you earn less than Daniel. You and Daniel make within $6,000 of each other. You have made within $6,000 of each other for the last 6 years. The gap between you is not a salary gap. It is not a background gap. It is not a luck gap. It is the specific, measurable, compounding result of what each of you did with the same basic raw material over the same 8 years, while sitting in the same building on the same floor, drinking from the same coffee machine. This is not a story about Daniel. Daniel is not special. Daniel would be the first to tell you that. This is a story about a gap that has been widening quietly for 8 years in plain sight and what is sitting on each side of it. Let's start with what you both had at the beginning. 8 years ago, you were both 27. You were both making roughly $52,000 a year. You both had student loans, his around $31,000, yours around $28,000. You both drove used cars. You both lived in apartments within 2 miles of the office. From the outside and from the inside, your starting positions were nearly identical. Here is where the first split happened. Not dramatically, not in a single decision. In a Thursday afternoon 8 years ago that you don't remember because it didn't feel like anything. Daniel opened a brokerage account on that Thursday. He had read something, not a book, not a financial advisor's recommendation, just something he came across online at some point that he'd filed away and kept thinking about. The idea was simple. Take a fixed percentage of every paycheck before you see it. Put it somewhere that compounds. Don't touch it. He started with $280 a month, not $840, not a dramatic commitment. $280, automated, gone before his checking account had a chance to get used to it. You did not open a brokerage account on that Thursday. You had been meaning to. You had a tab open about it for several weeks. That week, the tab got closed because something else needed the screen space. The intention remained. The account did not open. That is the entire origin story of the gap. A Thursday. A tab that stayed open versus a tab that got closed. An account that got funded versus an account that stayed on the to-do list. $280 a month at 7% average annual return over 8 years is approximately $34,000. That is what the first 2 years of Daniel's investing produced before he increased the contribution amount. That number sounds manageable. It sounds like something you could catch up on. That feeling is the most expensive feeling in personal finance. the feeling that you can catch up, that the gap is still closable, that there is still time. There is still time. But the gap does not wait while you decide. By year 3, Daniel had paid off his student loans. Aggressively, in 26 months, minimum payment on everything else, every extra dollar toward the balance. While he was doing that, his investment contributions dropped slightly, $180 a month instead of $280. The moment the loans cleared, the full $280 came back, plus the money that had been going to loan payments. He redirected $520 a month into the brokerage account without changing anything visible about his life. Same apartment, same CRV, same road trip vacation to the Carolinas. Your student loans are currently at $14,200. You have been paying them for 8 years. The balance was $28,000. You have paid approximately $18,000 over 8 years and still owe $14,200 because for the first 4 years, you were paying income-driven minimums, and the interest was running at 5.8% on a balance that stayed almost flat while you paid. You are not irresponsible. You are doing what felt manageable at the time. But manageable and optimal are two different calculations, and over 8 years they produce two different numbers. Year 4 is when Daniel bought the condo. He had been building a down payment separately, a different account from the brokerage, labeled simply Property Fund in his bank app. $400 a month for 27 months. He didn't tell anyone at work, not because he was secretive, because he didn't think it was interesting enough to mention. He put $22,000 down on a one-bedroom condo listed at $118,000. The neighborhood was fine, nothing exciting. A laundromat on the corner, a bodega across the street, a bus line that ran every 12 minutes. The kind of place you drive through without stopping. The condo rented for $900 a month. After the mortgage, the HOA fees, the property taxes, and a maintenance reserve he set aside every month without fail, it netted him $180 a month. $180. Less than a car payment, less than a phone bill for some people, less than what you spend on food delivery in a month without thinking about it. He didn't buy it for the $180. He bought it for what the $180 proves. Same thing the $190 from the vending machine proved 8 years earlier in a different story on a different channel. It proves the architecture works. The asset exists. It generates income. It appreciates. It does all of this without requiring Daniel to do anything on a Tuesday afternoon except exist in the same building where you drink from the same coffee machine and share the same 847 elevator. That condo is now worth $218,000. He owes $77,000 on it. His equity position is $141,000. In 4 years, the neighborhood became more interesting. The laundromat on the corner became a coffee shop. The bodega became a wine bar. Daniel did not predict this. He did not need to predict it. He bought a sound asset in a stable market and waited. The market did the rest. The rent is now $1,240 a month. After all costs, he nets $420 a month.